Amazing, beautiful, sexy, smart, intelligent woman I ever met in my life.
It was like one small, tiny, itsy bitsy incident with Ra and one of Andy's friends, but it was nothing.
It's all the whole Remy and Pap situation. None of it was true. I don't have nothing to do with that. Okay? Yeah, I have been open in all my relationships that I've had. Mm-hmm. All of them. I mean, I've had 4 boyfriends online.
Yeah, that's why I said I love him. I love having his support, you know what I'm saying?
We need to discuss Papoose and Remy Ma because Papoose is currently holding this man captive. Pap is essentially begging for a divorce, but Remy is refusing to let him go. This is about more than love, let's face it, but things are getting so bad that Claressa Shields is ready to step in and give her some advice. There are rumors circulating that Pap could be, in fact, the same Pap who had held Remy captive for years, protected her reputation, and was the perfect example of a devoted spouse while searching for the alimony money. Why is the captain still acting as if she is hers when he has already replaced her with 2 younger women and Pat is out here making friends and easily securing her bag? That's the exact reason. Claressa Shields' most recent Instagram birthday photo generated a lot of conversation. Claressa has made public declarations of her love and support for Pat. To King Pap, happy birthday. I am so grateful for your life, music, passion, and wisdom. You are truly one of a kind. May you always be richly blessed by God. Since today is the day you receive all of your birthday punches, Poppy, more years and even faster hands are in order. Oh, it's Poppy now. She also gave him the love you too. I'm not sure what else she could have said to directly target Remy, but it was a warning because Remy has already. She has been putting off this divorce for months, but now that Pap is drawing interest from other women, she can't let go. Let's talk about why this is more important than a straightforward divide. Even while the block captain initially clarified that Remy had moved on and didn't mind appearing in public, she's now becoming. Because Papoose put everything on hold for Remy, who kept her incarcerated and made sure she had a decent job waiting for her upon her release, the financial situation is much more difficult. But now that she's out here getting her paychecks, does she really want to sign those forms knowing that Pap might come for a chunk of the alimony? Because let's be honest, Remy's finances will suffer if Pap files for spousal support, and Claressa Shields isn't simply observing from a distance. She is prepared to help if necessary. Remy might have to face Claressa first if she thinks she can entertain other men while maintaining a limbo. Now, the true query is whether Remy is holding out because, is she attempting to protect her finances, or does she still have feelings for Pap? In any event, women who truly care about Pap are showing him affection, and Remy might be coming to terms with her treachery. Since the block captain isn't even glancing at Remy, let's not even talk about his vulnerable position. Claressa Shields is risking her health here. Pap is still legally bound to a marriage he doesn't really desire, not because he hasn't attempted to leave, but rather because Rhett continually brings up the divorce papers as if they were the only food on the planet. According to rumors, Remy has been turning down Pap's divorce request for maybe years. Furthermore, since this isn't just supposition, we shouldn't pretend that it's all fresh. Remember when Remy went nuts and showed those texts between Claressa and Pap? Claressa was plainly angry about the whole scenario, and the tea was burning. She didn't hold back either, asking Pap straight out why he hadn't permitted. She informed him that he, not her, was still legally married, saying, "If you can't at least sleep with me on the phone or be with me in person, then you are the one who is married. It shouldn't be a big deal to let me know that you made it home safely. Now tell me that doesn't sound like a woman who's fed up." Sis was being honest when she stated, "I want to be with my boyfriend, but I'm tired." Remy wasn't done yet, but she felt like the side dish instead of the main entree, and she even claimed to have audio recordings of Papa becoming angry and accusing him of trying to get the police to arrest her. Papa would not miss it, of course, but what was even more stunning was when he came back and informed her. How you continue is the genuine question. Let's not seem as though we were uninformed of Remy's behavior around Christmas 2023. She was made fun of by Easy, the block captain, and made no effort to conceal it. She basically confessed her love for him during that rap battle, and she gave it her all. The sole reason for Remy's actions is her discontent. She moved on and moved on. It makes sense to have Pap around while publicly announcing that you're in love with someone else, especially considering the block commander has already replaced her with 2 younger ladies. If it's that easy, why does she still cling to Pap like a currently? It's literally not about. It's crucial to have a good cover letter.
I'm only gonna address this shit one time. Since y'all wanna be on the front lines. Hey, yo, Remy, don't you love me? Yeah. See, right there, that's the punchline. That's the punchline.
Papoose and Wilder Claressa Shields are out here, especially on Valentine's Day, pursuing significant couple goals, like the kind of love that makes people question how locked in their relationships are and despise them. If you thought it was chaotic, get ready for even more mayhem. Ruined all that these two had accomplished. Pap was taking care of business, and Claressa was taking care of hearts while they were enjoying a romantic Hawaiian vacation, holding hands and sipping pina coladas. Pap launched the first Hawaii in Hawaii. Now feel free to talk about Mr. Pap. We set new records this year, and the show was wonderful, with many famous people in attendance. Fest because, as you are all well aware, he is always griping about his luggage, even when he is on vacation. Instead of keeping a secret, he disclosed the details of what happened on Threads. While he was out there securing his money and making boss moves, she was securing their love, even though it was a bit corny. In the sweetest little video, Claressa sang to him on the beach while uttering the well-known phrase, "Just the two of us, we can make it if we try." You could feel the love and the genuine, unadulterated atmosphere, and you were aware that Claressa and Pap were being watched by critics as they pursued their passion. We're talking about the last Nas haters who still won't give up.
We can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
Oh, but hold on. This story just took an entirely different turn because Papoose and Claressa Shields were supposedly having their most romantic tropical romance while an even more significant event was taking place in Hawaii. According to rumors, Pap had been planning this trip for a while, and it was more about making stuff than it was about unwinding. That's what you heard officially. In order to pop the question to Claressa on Valentine's Day, with his favorite person in front of him, Hawaii, the sea wind, and the stunning sunset, Pap reportedly wanted to finalize his divorce from Remy Ma before this trip. Was the ring shining in the moonlight visible to you? It would have been a special occasion, but guess who stepped in to spoil it all? Miss Remy Maesta. It's true that she didn't just decide to break up with Papa. Instead of letting go and moving on, she seemed to have been putting off getting a divorce as if her life depended on it. When things aren't going as planned, why is this happening? She acknowledged that it could have been a mistake to let Pap leave, and it doesn't help that she's been seeing Pap provide Claressa with the same amount of love and support that she once received, which is clearly having a significant impact on her. Remy used to have Pap as her best friend, but now that she's dating Easy, the block captain, she wants to be tough. Do you recall Claressa's entrance onto the boxing ring during Pap's performance for her? Seeing him arrive was a declaration of an entirely new level of love and dedication, not just support. To protect her name and make sure that no one forgets who she was, he is now providing Claressa the same energy that he provided her when she was confined. Wandering about in search of another woman, oh, that made Remy feel something.
And I'm a trained killer. Just really, like, fuck boxer. I'm a trained killer. So it'd be like, they be talking about these girls, and he's like, I don't do a 30-second fight. 30 seconds? I don't wear your ass out. Listen, you give me 3 minutes, but we get them girls, it's gonna be bad. 2 minutes, it's gonna be bad. That's why I'd be like, listen.
Champ, y'all see what's going on. About to get ugly.
About to get real ugly and not for me.
However, this goes beyond a tense relationship or the bitterness of an ex, so let's have a real discussion about it. Remy's hesitation to sign the divorce papers is said to be driven more by financial considerations than by emotion because it seems to be sending the message, "What are you afraid of?" Feelings. Since, let's face it, Pap was the one keeping things together for years, you already know that this might easily get sticky if you know how divorce law works. When deciding whether to issue a divorce, the courts take into account all essential circumstances, particularly in cases where there is a considerable financial imbalance. They started dating in 2004, were married in 2008, and then got divorced in an official ceremony. They were in prison together for 19 years, not just 11. The income disparity persisted for 10 years following the couple's marriage. But let's go back in time because Pap made steady contributions during the marriage, while Remy's career took off after she departed. After waiting for 6 years, Pap remained by Remy's side during her 2008 prison sentence. When she was ultimately released in 2023, it wasn't just an average wedding. They got married over the phone in 2008 while she was incarcerated. That is an entirely new degree of dedication. In 2015, they acknowledged their love with the publicly broadcast wedding ceremony because the person wanted everyone to know he was riding for his daughter, Mackenzie, who was born in 2018. It appeared like the perfect fairy tale for a while, but now Remy will have to pay a steep price for the same devotion. She is waiting because Pat is asking for alimony, which she could have to pay for all the years he gave up for her, and she is keeping the bag rather than the marriage because she wouldn't be keeping it if Pat had no rights.
Amazing, beautiful, sexy, smart, intelligent woman I ever met in my life. I love you more than anything in the world, as you know.
You don't know if I'll marry you again?
What I want to say is, will you marry me again?
It's time to consider who should be aiding whom since he kept Remy afloat during her roughest years. Let's explore Pap's argument for support in more detail. She is not supported by the numbers, and when you start examining the finances, well, that's when things become complicated. Look at that, Remy. Remy has been putting off signing the divorce papers because she knows that Pap's financial status is entirely different from Ma's, who is reportedly worth $4 million, and that the alimony payments will immediately harm her bank account. Remy has been making money from hip-hop and shows like Love through sponsorships and clothing lines, even though she has never been as well known on reality TV as Cardi B or Nicki Minaj. She has also been earning a stable salary from record sales. You see, it's not everything. Remy's first album, which is based on actual stories, was released in 2006. She proved she could remain relevant despite her lack of fame at the BET Awards, where she received 4 nominations and 1 win for Best Female Hip-Hop Artist. The real reason this divorce is taking so long is because she seems to be the one who would have to pay now that she has the bigger bag. Pap was there for her every step of the way as she developed her brand, made sacrifices, and supported her family. Because the courts will ensure that Pap receives what is owed as soon as she releases him, and Remy does not want those monthly payments to be deducted from her account.
I want to thank God first and foremost. I've been through a lot. To everybody who think there's no such thing as second chances, I'm here to tell you that's a lie.
To be completely honest, she wasn't just languishing in a jail cell hoping that people would forget about her, because she was still making waves in the music world and releasing mixtapes to maintain her reputation. Nevertheless, you know who. You may be certain that a lot of work was done. It wasn't just love. Papoose put significant effort into ensuring that those mixtapes were not overlooked. He was responsible for making calls, negotiating contracts, promoting her songs, and upholding her image. Think about it. Remy has a lot of money. Her career might have gone since a rapper's career can go entirely wrong in 6 years, but it went on because Pap was acting like a. When Remy Ma eventually came out in 2014, she was maintaining the Remy Ma brand, pushing her mixtapes, and getting the appropriate people to listen to them. This spared her from having to start over because she went home to a fan base that was already waiting for her. Why did that happen? Others say that if anyone received alimony, it was Remy because Pop held it down, although he wasn't the only one who made sacrifices during their marriage. This is owing to the fact that Pop worked equally as difficult to make sure she didn't come home broke. You may be assured that the courts will examine all of that while negotiating money.
Papoose wanted to marry you.
After you
know. After you guys sent it because you know, Nah. And I thought that was like a real stand-up. One of a kind.
When Remy eventually stepped out of those prison gates in 2014, she was not just coming back to the real world. She was stepping into a whole new realm of fame. And you know who was there to make sure her comeback was absolutely legendary. What Papoose accomplished wasn't only. They immediately turned to television to rekindle their romance. VH1's Love and Hip Hop New York was the ideal platform for them to share their story. And this was more than just Remy's comeback. Pap was not merely a supporting character. He was an essential part of the story. Let's be honest, the chemistry, the highs and lows, and, most importantly, the fact that they weren't just searching for Remy were what made those episodes so effective. Their love, issues, and family life, as well as Pop's support of Remy throughout it all, drew many fans. Observing how they managed their lives after being free from prison was intriguing, and guess who ensured that the checks continued to arrive? Papoose was able to create spin-offs, several guest appearances, and a whole company based on their romance. But let's be truthful. Clearly, Remy wasn't the only person who benefited from the VH1 bags. When people claimed that Pap didn't contribute to those TV checks, they must have been implying that Pap wasn't merely a supporting actor and was just as much of the star as she was. The dude wasn't just standing next to Remy. He was there on business and was watching a separate show.
Besides the great performances, like it was like one small, tiny, itsy bitsy incident where Ra and Remy and just friends, but it was nothing.
It
was like one little thing, nowhere near me. Like football.
Guess who was there, Papoose, to make sure that everyone knew about Remy Ma's 2018 fashion line, the Remy Ma collection, which sought to convey a message rather than just sell clothes? Since Remy was so committed to helping women and families affected by incarceration, a portion of the profits was contributed to this cause. Each collection had a more profound meaning. But let's be honest, a clothes company requires real advertising to be successful. A good cause doesn't work on its own. He was actively promoting the brand rather than just observing Remy's actions. He was wonderful. He was visible and working hard. And who did that, Pop? The menswear line made certain that it was visible and performed the type of task that major firms spend hundreds or even millions of dollars on celebrity endorsements to get their products in front of consumers. Since Pap was already on that promotion, Remy didn't have to pay for it. But bear in mind that influencers are heavily compensated by marketers. More than just a silent admirer, Pap was instrumental in the background to guarantee Remy's brand grew, making sure the collection was the focal point of every appearance, interview, and event, and treating the business as though it were his own. People should give credit where credit is due when discussing how Remy acquired the bag, because Pap's fingerprints were all over a lot of that success.
Miss Remy Ma, Mr. Papoose, really the hip-hop's Hollywood couple right now. Y'all need the whole show.
What Papa did for Jason Scott, Remy Ma's son, is one instance of his loyalty. Remy's adolescent son was not left alone while she was incarcerated. Instead, Papoose took over Pap went above and beyond by caring for another man's son while his wife is incarcerated, rather than just stopping in occasionally as most men do, even though raising a child is a duty. The narrative then takes a terrible turn. Tragedy was found even after it was made public, and it was assumed that everything would get back to normal. Jason's family provided him with the stability that other kids in his circumstance do not. After Jason Scott was caught and charged with first-degree murder in 2021 for a shooting death in Queens, New York, there was nothing Pap could do to keep the child. The whole family was shaken by the case, and many were left wondering for years what went wrong. The right path, Yet sometimes people still end up on the streets despite your best efforts to keep them loving and organized. This has to do with Jason's choices and Pap's sacrifices to keep him out of trouble throughout Remy's incarceration. Not only was he waiting for her, but he was also organizing everything she had left behind. That degree of dedication is impossible to measure.
Jason Scott has been arrested in connection to a in Queens that dates back to 2021. Investigators are looking into the possibility that it was a
that Remy Ma and Papoose finally done called it quits. That man got something. Like now, I sat here all this time and waited on you every day because you know that's what women were waiting for. After you got sentenced, how of that before you even got sentenced. Men move on. And they be having about 5, 6, 7, 10 women lined up for weeks. But this man waited on you like you was lined up, they wouldn't let you out. And I'm talking about he got him a little thunder. This is young, pretty. She got her own thing going on, so it ain't like it's one of these little fans or nothing that you up against something. Yeah. And you hurt. Guys, it's probably one of the relationships that was the abusive one. He probably was mental abuse. That man probably was real chill mode. He probably did him real dirty behind closed doors. And he stuck in the paint and stayed with you while you did him dirty. But now it's over with, baby. Karma is something else. Yeah, karma. Matter of fact, it ain't even karma. It's just that man knows his worth and he leaving you where you stand at. Back up. Yeah, ain't no more way. Baby, take that ring off. Take it off.
One obvious aspect of this acrimonious divorce is that Remy Ma's delay makes sense because, by signing the papers, she authorizes Pap to come and collect the alimony, and from the person most annoyed by the whole situation is Claressa Shields, but she doesn't seem to be attempting to let it happen. Instead of just extending their divorce to satisfy sentiments from the past, Remy is excited about the future stage of their partnership. Issa is having fun outside. This isn't simply a passing affair, CLA. Claire understands what she wants and wants to establish a future with Pop. She doesn't let anyone pull her down. She refers to him as her king, her rock, and so on, and she makes it a point to help him, to encourage him, and to show everyone that she is more than just interested in being the new girlfriend. Is committed to a long-term relationship with Remy, and now that she knows this, she is acting differently because if Pap were to wed Claressa, all Remy had with him would be gone, and at first glance, even while it appears like Remy is extending this divorce to keep Pap from fully embracing his new life, the real question is how long she can play this game before it backfires.
I love really, really, really hard, but I'm happy to, love somebody who wanna, love somebody that, you know what I'm saying? He is such a sweetheart. Ain't nobody tell him to find my goddamn boot either, but he said it wasn't laced right, so he laced it right. He's so funny.
Yeah, that's why I said I love him. I love having his support, you know what I'm saying? His support is like very, very different from what I've had in the past. And how he speaks to me and stuff is very different. There you go. We deserve each other. But I don't know, it's not one of those things I was like, I want to keep him all to myself.
Sis, Remy Ma won't let go. What's causing the delay? When you're out there living your life and moving on with a different man who, incidentally, has already replaced you, why are you waiting so long to sign the divorce papers? Now that Claressa Shields is out there attempting to enjoy life to the fullest with her Papoose, that is the only problem. But Pat's displeasure at something not adding up is not unique. How much longer will it take Claressa to have enough? What keeps Remy with Pap? Because let's be honest, she would have let him go by now if she were truly done with him. Claressa's patience is wearing thin, but she is adamant about loving him, supporting him, and enduring all of this extra weight. While some are accusing her of being spiteful for preventing Pap from being happy because she knows he has finally found someone who truly loves him, others are glaring at her and saying that this isn't about love at all, but rather about that alimony lady. She is holding on to this dead marriage as if her life depended on it. While she was incarcerated, let's not pretend that Pap didn't keep her down. Now that she had her money and success, pretend he didn't maintain her reputation and make sure she had a job to go back to. Is she worried that P will steal his money? Additionally, please remember that Claressa has ceased being kind and has begun referring to Remy King as such, demonstrating to him what it's like to be genuinely. What Pap will do if Remy drags this out is the true question. Would he keep waiting for a woman to sign the paperwork? Because she stays away from drama, games, and waiting for an ex who won't sign the paperwork, Claressa has no interest in waiting forever. I needed to get the opinions of my ushers and stars. Does he take responsibility for his life and follow through, or does he not let go? Let's face it, if Claressa starts to believe that this issue will never be resolved, will she stay? It is obvious that she will not play second fiddle to a matter that should have been settled long ago. Do you believe Remy is still holding on because she secretly wants Pap back, or is she attempting to avoid those alimony payments? To ensure you don't miss the newest tea, please remember to subscribe, leave a comment, and click the like button. Do you think Remy will continue to wait, or will she ultimately realize that enough is enough and move on? If you thought this was a disaster, I promise you will be blown away by what you see in the next video.